Let me know that you can hear me and see me. And today we're talking about he is the structure and you are the flow. So we're continuing our series in masculine and feminine energy and how we can use these principles of structure and flow in our relationships, business, life, in our work. So I'm really enjoying this series, and I hope you guys are as well. I think I'm live. Let me know that you can hear me and see me. We have exciting news for you as well. Oh, hi. Hi, Abby. Hi, Jess. Okay, so I'm assuming I'm live. Okay, so in the last training I did, which was yesterday, it feels like ages ago, uh, we took away the terms masculine and feminine to make it easier for you to understand that this is not so much as about gender as it is the energy that we're bringing and the dynamic that we're bringing to the moment, right? And so when we say masculine and feminine, I think that these words have been so overused and maybe weaponized against us for so long, or maybe we've been doing that, that they can almost feel like loaded, right? Like it can be shameful to be like, well, you're not feminine enough, or you're a masculine woman. And it sounds kind of degrading, but it's not, because if you say to me, Mina, you're a masculine woman, I'm gonna say, when? Because yes, there are times in my life, day like times in my moments in my day where I lean on masculine energy because I need structure in that moment. And then I go into flow because the structure that I created helped me get into flow. So now I'm in the feminine. So it is this beautiful dance that you're constantly playing with the various energies. It's not about gender so much. Of course, being that, a lot of women that come to my work are feminine energy identified in their sexuality, meaning they're attracted to masculine energy beings, right? This could be in the form of a man or a woman, but you want that partner to bring the masculine container, the structure, and you want to be the flow. So because of that, it then 90% of women identify as feminine energy beings and 90% of men identify as masculine energy beings. So we get trapped in gender, but let me just tell you, it is so much more beyond gender. So today we're tackling relationships. I want to talk about how if you are identified as a feminine energy being, you want your partner in the moments of relating, in the moments of relationship, to bring the structure. And this is something that I feel like people screw up in such, it's in like the early moments of dating, because in the Western culture, the women are bringing the structure for the relationship. They're usually the one chasing men. They're usually the one, asking them out. They're usually the one wanting to push the relationship forward, asking for a timeline. All of this stuff, the direction of the relationship, the setting the time, the being accountable for the relationship, all of these are the masculine or the structural roles. So if you get stuck in the structural roles of in a relationship, but you identify as the flow, you're gonna feel very frustrated because you're not going to be getting the desired effect that you want to have in the relationship, right? Let me know if this is making sense. So what you want to do then is you want to change the dynamic where you are bringing the flow. Okay? And there is a way to do this where you are still sharing your desires, you're still sharing, your preferences and what you want out of life, but you're not leading the entire thing. You're not letting, you're not making him, you're not being accountable for his behavior. Okay? Let me see what you guys are saying. Yes, we want the man to plan the dates, to give the timeline, direction, commitment. Yes. And when we say plan the dates, it's not so much the physical act of planning the dates. So let me go really deep into this concept. I think some women think, oh, if he plans the date, he's bringing the structure. Not necessarily. You could be energetically chasing a man. You could have asked him out. you could be the one that's like putting all your eggs in his basket, and he could have planned the date. Who's bringing the structure, right? So when we say him bringing the structure, it has to be the overall umbrella of the energy that he brings and not just this moment to moment thing. I can't tell you how many, relationships that I've helped coach that where he was doing the simple things, he could plan the date, but the woman was doing everything else. So the overall structure was held by her and not by him. So really look at this as the big umbrella of what he provides and protects overall, and not these simple things. There have also been moments in really great ravished forever relationships, like I like to say, or honeymoon forever relationships, where the guy does literally everything to create the structure and the woman plans the date because that's the one thing he's not good at. Now, women that don't really understand this work will be like, oh, well, he doesn't plan the dates, so you're not feminine. Nope, she's very much feminine and being provided for and like take like everywhere, right? But planning dates isn't the zone of genius for her man. So she takes that and she likes planning dates. So don't get caught into the physical aspects as much as the energetic umbrella because this is a big trap that I see women making. And the reason for it this is because the more this work is being taught by people who aren't deeply embodied in it and haven't really studied it from the Eastern perspective, the more watered down it's becoming and the more it becomes this performance thing. You could be the most masculine, structured person coming in this relationship, and then he plans the date, and you think, oh, well, I'm being in my feminine. No, you're probably not if you're still chasing him. So it goes really, really deep when you really understand it from the actual Eastern perspective, and it changes your core being and how you show up versus these like judgments of these outside things that people are doing. Let me give you another example. I have two examples in particular coming up. I've known these two women from different times in my life that were, to me, as masculine as a woman can come. It was pretty much like they might as well be a man. The way they spoke, the way they carried themselves, the way they dressed, their energy was so masculine all the time that I knew them, that they interacted with me. And both of these women had very masculine men as their life partners. So that left me kind of scratching my head, right? Like, huh? Like they're just like their men were just so masculine. And I realized that I was judging them based on how they were interacting with me or other people. But when I saw them interacting with their partner, they definitely brought the flow. So it doesn't matter how you are in all other areas of your life. If you are able to surrender and be in the flow in front of your man, that's polarity. You've got it right there. So just don't judge yourself or other people based on what they're doing outside of the relationship. How are they inside the relationship will determine the response that they get. Okay. I'm doing everything I can to get rid of the limiting belief that it's hard to find a masculine provider man and there are lots of feminine with fear consciousness men. Yes, I know that this is harder for people with these kind of limiting beliefs because that they won't let themselves to even be in that position with a man. What if I told you that the same man could be masculine with one woman and super feminine with another? Just like women, we can be very masculine in one moment and very feminine in another moment. So the structure and flow is an important way to look at it without getting so bogged down by the gender. So if you always bring the flow, structure, even masculine energy men will be like, "Oh, great, this is a time for me to relax. Let me conserve energy." She's got it. This comes from a different perspective of our evolutionary history. So you click on the conserve energy switch. And so from your perspective, all men are in their flow, and you are correct because you bring that out in them. I know people don't like to hear this and they can get really upset, but if you are someone that is so in your structure that you bring in the conserve energy switch in other people, then you will perceive the world as everyone being feminine. That's why when there's if I get clients or students saying, "Oh, all the men are feminine out there," or the first thing I tell them is, "I want you to shut up." That's exactly what I say. I tell them, "Listen, babe, when you're going out there and you're telling your girlfriend and your family and all the men that you're dating that all men are feminine, you're giving them important information about your embodiment. You're sharing too much." People aren't listening and saying, "Oh, all the men out there are feminine." They're thinking, "Oh, I'm dealing with a woman that brings out the feminine in everyone because she's in her masculine." So stop giving this information away to people. Work on it, but do not go on dates and be revealing what kind of other dates or what kind of other men you have experienced. This is very important because you do not want to give this information away, especially as you're doing inner work and changing and rewiring your neural pathways and literally changing your identity because now this guy is already making judgments about you. And if he's a predator, it's like, oh, all I have to do is trigger her because masculine women are self-aware Barbies, I should say, are easier to trigger into their masculine, where they like go into overgiving and doing, and it's just easier to rob them because there's something to rob, right? So do not give this info. Do not tell future dates or current dates about what you have experienced. You should show up, one, not sharing this information at all, or if you must share very little or share that you've been meeting very masculine energy men. That's it. Mina, how do we inspire commitment from men? So, when they want you really, really bad and they know that you are dating other people and you are a great catch, they want to get you off the market right away. Their first goal is trying to get you to be their girlfriend because they understand how female hormones work better than most women currently do. So, what they're going to do is they're going to try to get you off the market by making you a girlfriend, or if they realize, "Oh, she's not gonna wanna be my girlfriend, there's no other way to make her get her off the market, she's gonna keep dating, and she's such a catch that someone else is just going to want to sweep her away," that's how they get you off the market. So, um, you have to be someone that they see as their dream girl, someone that they really want to be with. And that comes right down to the gut level emotional response, which I've been telling you guys about all of these years. By the way, I think this is a good time to mention that we had 2 current offers, but we have 3 current offers right now. And the most important one to tell you about has to do with the relationships, and it's called the Ravished Forever bundle. So I launched a new bundle this morning in preparation for this live stream. That bundle has 10 of basically all of my relationship courses in it. You get the Savage Feminine, the Gut Level Response, Wife, like all of them. And with the pre-launch price, it's 45% off the price of what it would be if you bought those courses individually. So that's our latest bundle. The pre-launch price ends soon. Haney, do you remember what it was? If you can let me know. There's a timer. Also, the other bundles I've launched in this feminine and masculine series, the 8-figure entrepreneur bundle, that price, the pre-launch price ends in like literally a few hours. So if you have been eyeing that, which I know a lot of you guys already signed up and a lot of you guys were like looking at it, if you want to get the best price off of that, it is currently more than 50% off. So it's a great deal it's basically like buying the CEO Boss Queen and then getting all other 8 courses for $1,000. So it is a huge deal for you guys, and it gives you immediate access to all of the courses in those bundles. So that's happening. And then lastly, Channeled, my latest, newest course about channeling and all the things to do with my book. This is my older book, but my new book, which I just finished the first draft yesterday, super excited about that. So that's also in a pre-launch state, and that pre-launch price ends tomorrow. So take your pick. I know some of you guys are interested in this versus that. There's something for everyone with these three offers. So I have them in the chat. I've got them in the description box for you, and I'll also pin it to the first comment. So in a relationship, whether you're in the dating stage or in you're a fiance or you're married, for 15, 20, whatever years, when you are interacting with your partner, when you are relating to your partner, doesn't matter how you are at work or how you are other times, when you are relating with your partner, you want to make sure that you are in your flow at least, I would say, 40% of the time, 30 to 40% of the time. What that does in your relationship is it gives you a chance to be in your like most native state, be magnetic, be, that yummy energy that pulls for it, and it allows him a chance to be in that structure energy, which gives him that feeling of being a hero. You do not have to do this 100% of the time. Most people can't. I would be lying through my teeth if I told you that I am in my flow 100% with my husband. It's just not possible, okay? We, own a home together, we're business partners, we parent kids together, we household together. That would be impossible. The only people I know that are able to maintain this pretty much live separately, and to me, they don't that's not understanding the subtle nuances of, like, living together and being married and still holding that polarity. So if you can do this for 30, 40% of the time, that's awesome. Here's why. You need the other polarities, the neutral polarities and the friendship polarities and the partner polarity and other aspects to actually feel connected on all levels, okay? For example, if you want to be in a romantic relationship, but you also like that kind of relationship where your husband is your best friend, then you don't want to just be in the sexual polarity all the time. You want to allow space for other polarities to also be happening. Okay? Um, Thank you, Mina. What if Abby, you of all people should know I do not like what if statements because to me, it feels like you're making stuff up. Because what if to me is an imagination trigger, and imagination is imagination. They're not facts. Do you see? So anytime someone starts with a what if, I don't want to answer that question because I already know that they're triggering an imagination part of their brain and probably making up stories. Do you want to rewrite that? Because I don't know if this is a fear, if it's a limiting belief, it's a story that you're making up, because a lot of times that's what it is. Okay. So when you are in your flow, you are not using your brain. You are using the metaphysical and you're letting that do the heavy lifting. So when you are in your flow, you wouldn't go into your brain and be like, okay, because now you're in the structure. So how are you showing up in the dynamics of the relationship? This means how are you showing up when you think about the relationship? Meaning it's like it's something that it's in your frame of mind, right? Are you thinking from a flow perspective or are you thinking from a structure perspective? How do you behave when he's not in front of you? How do you behave when he doesn't call you? How do you behave when you guys are like on separate trips together? All of that determines, because remember, energetically, we can feel that from each other. You could be sitting, 4,000 miles away from your guy and be thinking about him, and he can feel that. You're energetically entangled. We know this from quantum physics now, right? So a lot of women screw this up by energetically chasing him, trying to create and structure him and contain him when that he wants to be able to do that with you. So are you trying to contain him and structure him? Or are you so much in your flow that he's trying to contain you and structure you? Because that will determine who's the masculine and who's the feminine in the relationship. Yes, I see. What do I do in a situation where he is treating you as his dream girl on dates, but his long periods between dates as he is busy with family events? So what you do is keep dating other people. That's all you can do. We do not we can't contain him. We can't go kidnap him. We can't like go and grab him in some way. If he likes you enough, and he knows that, you're a catch, and he knows that you have not given him any status, and he hasn't claimed you in any way, and you're out there when he's busy with family events. To me, a guy that's busy with family events all the time, like for long periods, is kind of a red flag personally, regardless of how he's treating me on dates. Because what that's telling me is that either he's got a wife somewhere and kids, or he's so entangled with his birth family that he's not really ready and open and has created space um, for divine union. So personally, for me, that would have been a red flag, but it doesn't need to be. It depends on, what else is going on in your life, in his life. The dates are 3 weeks apart. Yeah, I had one like that too. He was a doctor, a neurosurgeon, and his phone calls and his dates were so far apart that between his one date and his other date, like, I got engaged. Like, I'm not even joking. I think it was 3 weeks, similar to yours, and like in the from when I last saw him to when he called me again, I had met Irfan, dated him, and was engaged in that 3-week period. So it was like, sorry, sucker, bye, see ya. So that's what you do. I'm 42. I really want to birth my sacred work, but also bring in a masculine man in my life. I'm working full time and I feel like I it will be overwhel it will overwhelm me too much to do both. So if that I would go into the basic babe bundle and change your core beliefs. It will overwhelm you because that's what you believe. Um, Somehow we manage to breathe, walk, talk, do our kidney functions, our liver, like all of these things without any conscious awareness on most of them, and they just happen. But if I believe that running a human body was very overwhelming, can you imagine what kind of energy that would zap out of me, right? So what I would recommend is either get this book first and like set structures in your life, and then in combination of this, do the Basic Babe Bundle rewiring for the 5-step or 6-step process, because whatever you believe, you will create. So I agree with you. It will be very overwhelming for you because those are your core beliefs. Always work in the roots first. The roots are the core beliefs. Do not try to do anything without changing the core beliefs, because the weeds are going to sprout up again. Like any effort that you make on top of it will be fruitless if the weeds, the roots are like all messed up. Thank you, S. Yeah, I'm loving this new series so much as well. What would you do if you were in my situation? I would change my core beliefs. That's what I do with everything currently. That's what I did with writing my new book, right? As I was writing my new book, I had all of these limiting beliefs came in. What do you think I did? I went to the 6-step process and started changing my beliefs. And honestly, I feel like this is like the easiest, most fun process for me. Like so fun that I'm actually going to be teaching it in channel because it's really a true testament of loving anything, letting anything be fun. And you guys know writing books has a whole collecting morphogenetic like belief system that books are supposed to be hard, that writing books is hard, it takes a long time, it's laborious. Nope, not for me. I changed it. How did I change it? I changed my core beliefs. I decided that writing a book is as natural for me as writing an email to send to you, or doing a live stream, or eating food or laying on the beach. Like I reworked myself to believe something different. And then, of course, that has to be my experience. It must be my experience because that's what I believe. So, in what way can you bring structure to your everyday life? This is a great place to start. This is how I literally did it. So that you can be more in your flow when you are in those moments where you want to create moments of polarity, moments of divine union. How can you do it in even the smallest pockets? Like let me tell you, Irfan and I got married in 2008. So in October, I think that's 15 years, I think, if I'm correct. Um, it doesn't have to be long chunks. Like in our life today, we could be in whatever energy when we're by ourselves or even together, and it will just take like a 2 minute like interaction or even a 30-second something in the kitchen, like an eye glance where I'm truly surrendered in my flow. I'm in my feminine, which activates his more of his alpha and his structure. And in that moment, there's polarity. That's all you need because that little bit is enough of a thread that you can now pull on. It doesn't need to be, a 3 hour dinner. It can be, but if you can't do it in these small little pockets, chances are that your nervous system will not have the training to do it in a longer, 3 hour dinner. It just won't because you've never, it's like trying to run the Olympics when you've never ran, even for 2 minutes in your life. You're not gonna do it, right? It's not gonna happen. So, what you want to do is wherever you can, create those little pockets. In fact, one of the things that helped me greatly was starting to see everything in my life as the divine masculine, realizing that my house is a structure. It represents the divine masculine, that the universal bodies and the universal beings, angels, guides, God, is the divine masculine in relationship to me because it's holding structure for me. My business, my everything, like anything and everything could be turned into a structure, which then gives me the safety and the containment to fall into my flow. So if you don't practice in these little ways, it is going to be a lot harder for you to do them when it really, really counts. Welcome to Level Up Queens. Her personal transformation just joined. Thank you, Abby. What if a woman already gives herself an amazing structure? Would a man be necessary? Um, I don't look at my desires as if they're necessary or not. They're just my desires. So I am a woman that gives myself amazing structure, but I also desire divine union. So if a woman says to me, if a woman requires a man because she can't hold structure for herself and needs that, I would actually be concerned because now we're talking about a basic babe. So do you see? So do you desire to be in a relationship is the question, not is it necessary? That's the wrong question, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know why people use that. Words are very important. I challenge you and encourage you not to use what if questions. Mina, how can I set more structures with my kid? Sometimes I feel overwhelmed when I want to work on our many businesses, be a feminine wife, and work out. So um, look at your day as 3 days. This is a really great way to look at it. So structure your day. You cannot be a feminine wife and working at your business and working out at the same time. That would be really weird. I'm trying to think in one scenario would that even work? I guess if you were a personal trainer and you were trying to get it on with your man while training a client, like like in what situation would that even make sense? Like I'm not really like getting it, but you don't do all of those things at the same time. You can have all of those things as part of who you are, but not at the same time, right? For example, I'm not having sex with my husband while I'm talking to you guys right now, right? That would be really bizarre and a really weird kind of YouTube channel. So right now, I am in my flow and I'm teaching this to you guys, right? So I'm also kind of in my structure. I'm embodying both of those. When I end this live stream, what part of like my second part of my day begins or a second portion of my day begins. So you have to train your kids for, as from their little to understand work time, family time, and this is important for them to learn for later, right? Because you don't want your kids being in their school and they're trying to like play when the teacher is teaching something. I think some parents like miss important skill sets and things that they're supposed to train their kids, and then their kids don't know how to behave and what energy to bring in various situations. So, what I would recommend is design a structure for your life where you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing and it sends a signal to everyone what they're supposed to be doing. So, let me give you an example. When I was in my flow in writing this book, my husband kept coming into the office and giving me all these random updates of things he had done. I just did this, I did this, I sent this email, I did this. And it kept interrupting my flow because as you know, when you're in your flow and you're typing something, if someone interrupts it to set a structure or even interrupts it in general, it takes you 45 minutes to get back into flow. And that's if you're good, if you're used to being in flow. So I'm trying to write and there's these constant interruptions. So I had to let him know that, hey, I'm doing deep work right now, and then literally lock the door. Like that's just a structure that I had to create for myself. Otherwise, this book, there was no way it would have been written in 20 days. It would have been too many interruptions. So you have to create that structure for yourself, for your family, and let people know that need to be notified because they will be impacted. So everyone knew that when office is locked, she's in deep flow, right? Do you think I would have been able to create anything that I've created if I constantly had all of these other things interrupting me and breaking my train of thought, my flow, right? So that's what you have to do. Let me see. Okay. Kennedy said, "Hi, Mina. I've just turned 20 years old. Happy birthday. I'm currently doing my inner work before I start rotational dating. I've also decided to save myself for marriage. Thank you for everything, Mina. Loving this live. Thank you, babe. I appreciate you, um, donating the super chat and letting us know. I'm so proud. I'm so proud that you're 20, doing your inner work, and already so intentional and conscious about how you want to live your life. And the fact that you're not giving yourself away to any which person, like it collapses your inner work into so much less that you have to do. So I'm so proud of you. Celebrating. Oh, thank you. Someone else celebrating Kennedy. Thank you, Blossom. Thank you. Nichima, I think it is. I hopefully pronounced that correctly. Okay. So even rotational dating. What is rotational dating? The concept of rotational dating is actually the structure that you need to be able to show up in your flow on dates. So if you look at it, anything in life has both. It always has any flow that you see will always have a structure behind it. You as a human being are a combination of structure and flow. If you did not have structure, you would have no bones and you would be a puddle of goo on the floor, literally. Okay? So you yourself have a structure. So, we all need both in all areas of our life. So where in your life, here's some journal prompts to wrap up this conversation. And all of the links to the bundle, the Ravished Forever bundle, 8-figure entrepreneur bundle, and channeled, everything is below in the description box and I'll put in the comments. But here's some journal prompts for you guys. What is the structure of my day? And what is the flow? If I was to start looking at my day as 3 separate days, what would be the structure for each day and what would be the flow? So let me give you an example. And don't get a lot of these things when you explain them, people get caught up in the verbiage of it. I want you to look at the general feel of this, okay? So when I wake up in the morning, I have a morning routine. It's a flow-based morning routine, but it needs a structure. And that is day number 1 for me. So I've split my one day into 3 days. So I live 3 days, equivalent of 3 days in 1 day. So the first day in what you would call a full day is the structure is the routine, right? Like my workout, the tea that I drink, the journaling that I do. Like I'm like it's like very much me based, like Mina taking care of Mina. Okay? But I have a structure around that, okay? So that's that part of the day or that day. The second day starts for me in what you would consider the second half of the day, and that is my business Barbie day, okay? So I spend that time doing something, right? Either writing or live streaming or, thinking of an email that I'm gonna write or writing an email. So there's some kind of a structure and a flow around business related activities, okay? Then that part's end, and that day might be, in human terms, an hour. It might be 4 hours. It just depends on what I'm feeling, because remember, when you're in flow, time is not linear. It's more, metaphysical. So in human terms, it might be an hour, or it might be 4 hours, or somewhere in between. My 3rd day starts in the same day, when those 2 things are done, and then we're like it's family now, where we might watch a movie, we might go sit by the pool while the kids are swimming, we might go out somewhere, we might cook something together, we might talk about various things happening in our lives. And all of this is happening at the same time, technically, because we're all living and working together, but it's structured in my consciousness in 3 different day formats, and this helps me a lot. In fact, I have a whole, structure for this, for how I live 6 years in actually 1 year, that I'm actually going that whole thing will be launched, I'm actually turning it into a course. That's when I say, like, you can live, like, multiple lifetimes in a year. That's why I have so much achievements in 1 year, because I look at it as 6 different years in 1 year. It's actually like 6 different identities, or 6 different timelines collapsed into 1 timeline, 1 year. And I'm going to be teaching that process for my New Year's program, but you can start doing this in your day, so that you're not like, when am I supposed to be mommy? When am I supposed to be this? Like, if you are a woman, a top 1% woman that wants to achieve and have a lot of things, you want the relationship, you want the children, you want the beautiful home, you want the gorgeous body, you want the serenity that comes from the cocoon that comes from the inner work, and you want to be of service to this planet, you're going to have to learn how to structure yourself better. And one way I can support you is my previous book, my first book, talks about setting structures in various areas of my life. In fact, the year after this book was published, what it was 2 of the biggest quantum years that I've had in my life, where it's like I didn't just timeline jump, I was literally like in a different planet. Like so much happened the following year, and it was because of these structures that I set. So I highly recommend this book. It's linked in the description box. Is it possible or desirable to be in flow more than 30% to 40% of the time in the presence of a man, almost 100? Um, if any person would be 100% in their feminine, they would need to be institutionalized. They would have a complete mental and like nervous system breakdown. So I would say that that's not a worthy goal. Um, you think of the craziest people you can imagine, like literally like clinically insane. What kind of things do they say and do? They have no structure. They often like they'll pee themselves. They'll say really inappropriate things, right? Like you do not want that. Any man that if you even try to get close to 100, they should run. the man should run away from you because you are gonna be so cray his nervous system is not gonna be able to stand it. Yeah, even like, think of a baby. Okay, even a baby who's, like, very much in their flow-like as humanly possible, right? As feminine as humanly possible, have some kind of structure, and they're always building more as they're getting older. Imagine if you had a baby and they stayed a baby for the rest of their lives. Like, could you imagine how overwhelmed you would be? You would be quite sad as well because this person would not be evolving at all. So that is not a worthy goal. It's ridiculous when I hear people even saying this, that, oh, I'm 100% feminine energy being. What that's telling me is that I should stay away from you because you have no structure in your life. You have no emotional control. You might slash my tires tomorrow, right? Like you have no control. So that you need to understand that there's no such thing as 100%. Someone, physically speaking, if they said, "Can I be 100% in my flow?" I would say we would have to get rid of your skeletal system. We'd have to get rid of your bones. You would be mush, like, on the ground. So I'm just telling you that a lot of these trainings, these teachings have been so watered down from people teaching them that don't really understand the depth of these concepts, and they're causing a lot of confusion. What I'm concerned about is a lot of basic babes hearing this information on like performance femininity channels, and then like quitting their jobs, not getting their education. Well, they wouldn't have jobs because they're basic babes, but like not making any contribution to their personal structures and getting themselves in relationships where they're being primed to be basically beholden and property to someone else. We've worked really hard as a collective to get ourselves out of that. Remember, feminism has been an important part of femininity. Very important. Yes, is misconstrued now and it's gone too far. I totally understand that. But at the same time, the fact that we have the right to vote, the right to have jobs and careers, the right to go to school, the right to have our own bank accounts, the right to make our own decisions is because of feminism. So going backwards and becoming 100% feminine, not that you can, that's a step in the wrong direction. What we want to do is we want to balance ourselves, within ourselves, structure and flow. So in my life, I have 30-40% structure, and then the rest is flow. And I feel really happy and satisfied with that. Okay. Understood. Very helpful. So glad. Yes. Plus, if you are resonating with my channel, let's say that there was some crazy way to be 100% feminine all the time and without being delusional, which is not possible, but let's just say you were. You probably wouldn't be watching my channel. Because I am someone that embodies both. I love my masculine energy. I love my feminine energy. I love my structure. I love my flow. I am not someone that can be satisfied in just being someone's wife. I had that opportunity when I married Irfan. He retired me at 28, and all I did was whatever I wanted all day long. I read a lot of books. I did my inner work. I watched a lot of YouTube and TV and vacationed and shopped and did all the things that I wanted to do. But after a certain time, I wanted to do something else because life always wants to evolve. It wants to add to itself, right? It wants to expand. And those people that think that once they are provided for are just going to sit on the beach all day long have never had that opportunity, because when they do, they'll realize that you can only do that for so long before the life in you will want to expand into something more. You're going to want to improve the beach or create a product that you noticed was missing for people sitting on the beach. Like, there's always going to be something coming through. That's why a lot of stay-at-home moms will join PTAs or start hobbies or help volunteer in their community, because life always wants to create more of itself. It wants to expand. So you're you're going to want to keep growing, especially if you're resonating with my content. You're probably one of those women that just wants to keep growing and evolving and have like many seasons of life and many flavors and many identities and many lifetimes collapsed into one. Okay. So I love you. I hope you enjoyed this. The Ravished Relationship Bundle has been launched, is linked. The eight-figure entrepreneur bundle expires soon. The pre-launch price expires soon. It's still going to be available, but it's going to be more. And Channeled is currently enrolling. We're having the welcome party on Monday. I will be sending that information to all the students shortly. I love you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.